If you don't like to speak in tongues and pray, and you're not, and I'm not demanding that you do that, but I'm telling you, you should be cultivating anything God has given you to be a kingdom-minded believer. I'm using that just as a reference point. But if you don't like to speak in tongues, if you don't like prophecy, if you don't like to see the power of God, you will go and find a comfort zone who shares the same ideology, and you will become stuck in that group. And you need to have, just like you need to have some adversity, you need to also have people pass through your life who will challenge you out of your comfort. I can't believe how we foster in the West a mentality that we know everything about God because we've become a nation of philosophers, and that we know everything about God and we can settle for less so comfortably. You need individuals in your life, whether they're spiritual fathers, spiritual mothers, or just friends for a season, but you need to have them in your life, and you need to evaluate whether you have fallen into a comfort zone and that your friends are stuck spiritually. I'm not saying you have to go find people you don't like. Oh my gosh, He's called us to be happy. But I am telling you, you need to find people that will challenge you, and you'll have the same appetite you have. They're hungry for God. When I was a young minister in our church in Amarillo, Texas, and we were there for 20 years, I enjoyed all of the staff people we had, for the most part. We had a large staff. And there were only a handful of us that probably were there for the whole 20 years when I was there. And I enjoyed most of my friendships with them. But I can just tell you this, there weren't a whole lot of them, even in church ministry, who were as hungry as I was hungry. I'm not building myself up, I'm just telling you that it would have been easy for me to find, you're talking about a very large ministry, and it would have been very easy for me to find just little comfort zones and just do my job, but I was hungry for God. I was hungry for a meal I had never tasted before, and I didn't know how to cook. And so when prophets came to our church, or if guest speakers came to our church, I was the one, my wife and I, we would, unless there was a reason we couldn't do it because another person, Jimmy Evans or Tom Lane needed to be with that person, we always said we're always available to host that person, to drive that person, to pick them up in the hotel, because I wanted to be in the vehicle with them and I wanted to glean anything they had. Because I wanted to get around people who would challenge me, who would grow me, who would open my eyes, who would open my ears, who would expand my heart. So, if you're going to live your life to become what God has said about you, the first advice I give you, again, I want to just sum it up for you. First thing is lift up your eyes. God's saying more about you than you realize. Number two, be prepared to get rid of things that aren't necessary or tied to your purpose. Number three, make sure that you're aligned with people who are challenging you to grow in the greatness of God. Amen? Would you stand up with me?
Thank you for listening to this message from Champions Church. We invite you to join us this Sunday for our celebration worship service. For more information, please visit us at championschurch.com.